when they induct vote into the Baseball Hall of Fame, it will come back to this game that started him on the path to greatness, period. Oh, gosh. Where's Cole? Where's Cole? Cole, hi. Oh my God, what a game. I know, but I couldn't see it. You couldn't see it on TV because it was in the corner. I know, amazing.
It was so good.
The food was so good. What did you eat?
What?
What did you eat?
I had chicken tenders.
Oh, that's good. But isn't it still a fast day? You're not fasting anymore?
Anymore, no.
Wow, it's a day to celebrate. Oh, I have no faith in it.
A lot of drama.
Sadie.
Yeah,
Hit a 3-run home run.
he crushed it. Did you see?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, wow, we did it. We did it. We're really good. Thank you for the win. Thank you for helping. Let me see your ball.
Yeah, look, you want to show you.
Wow. Are you gonna like put it in a case? Yeah, you should put. Okay, enjoy. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye.
Hello.
Hi, Mario.
Did I see you at the supermarket today?
Oh, yeah, I was there. Yeah. Yeah. I was looking for poppy seed filling. Magda was making kokosh, so I wondered if she could also do poppy seed, but they didn't have it.
Did you complain
No,
to
no,
the management?
no, I doubt that they would have. I took a risk.
I was looking for, apart the stuff I was buying,
Yeah.
toothpicks
Oh, toothpicks.
all over the place. And this guy sends me there.
Oh, yeah. Did you find it?
I took a girl and said, take me. And she
Take you
found
there.
the colored ones, like for parties.
Oh.
But I suppose nobody uses them anymore.
Toothpicks? Yeah, party planners is probably that's it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is a long blad. No.
What's that?
I thought it was a long blad, but the second part is
Oh.
not too long. What to make tomorrow? Because I have to go on buying them because I didn't. I
After
thought
Avodah Zara? I don't know what comes after Avodah Zara.
I had all I thought. But before I used to use the ones in shore when I
Oh,
used to go there every day.
let's see what's after. Okay. So
Horayos, the Duyos.
Harayas Seduyos. Yeah, it's a small one.
And then Svachim.
Oh wow. The three sets of three, sets of three, sets of four. Yeah.
Which is for Cholin.
Yeah.
But we're not so far from finishing.
No, it's pretty coming up. Do we have a date yet?
No, but it started in 2000, was it? The 2020, I mean?
Let's see what it says here. June 6, 2027.
Yeah.
It's going to be at MetLife Stadium.
If you want to go to New York.
Yeah. There must be a balagan there. Who you believe? 100,000 people?
100,000, yes. And the cousins of Bobby will speak, because
Yeah, the big guys.
he'll put our money there.
I hope they have good security.
Ours was in UCLA last time.
Yeah.
Hello.
Who's that?
It's Walter.
Mario.
No, I can't believe it, Walter. You're early.
What do you mean? Why am I early?
Because you're always late, Walter, that's why.
So I don't need that kind of insult over here. I come onto the Zoom and that's what you tell me with the people listening to the recording. Switch off the recording and now put it back on.
He meant it with love.
Okay.
We're on Mem Zayin. Now tomorrow, I think we can learn the daf at 7:00, Walter, because we were finished at 6:30 today.
Yeah, I'm not saying not, but that's that they wrote that. So I was
So Mario, let's try tomorrow at 7:00.
Okay.
And then the Zorba is at 8. By the way, they shipped me complimentarily a bunch of volume 22s that you and Magda beautifully.
Oh, already they did? Wow, that's quick.
okay, that's nice. Beautiful.
The Katz's sponsored volume 22, so they shipped us
Wow.
courtesy those farms. So we'll
Okay,
get
great.
Yeah, but
Good.
you don't have the 19
We
yet.
have the-
They're coming. I've ordered those as well. They're coming too.
Oh, so Harold did 20. Okay.
22.
Harold did 22.
22.
Oh,
It's
nice.
very nice. It's a lot of nice topics there. Okay. Mem Zayin Amid Aleph. So we talked about a case where somebody worshipped a stalk of wheat. Now the problem with a stalk of wheat is then you have to grind it into flour. So the issue was, since it's a second step, maybe it would be permitted to be used by Hegdish even if it was worshipped. And they compared it to a case of a pregnant cow that someone committed bestiality with. That if someone has bestiality with a cow, it no longer is kosher to be brought as a korban. Now, what if the cow was pregnant? So the Gemara says, "Aval ibru vasof nirbu." If the cow was pregnant at the time that a human had relations with it, divra kol asurin, then there's no machlokas. Everybody holds that even the vlad would be prohibited because at the time that the avera was committed, the vlad was there. Similarly, says the Gemara, or attempts the Gemara to say, hachanami, in the case of bowing down to the wheat, ki ibru l'sof nirbudami. It's like the wheat was present when it was worshipped. So we don't care whether you grinded it, you didn't grind it, it was there. So based on that analysis, the Gemara would reject being able to use that kind of wheat. However, ikedi amri, machlokes keshenir bulasof ibru. The person who permitted using the vlad was, the animal was not pregnant when bestiality occurred. Later on, it became pregnant. So the vlad was not involved in the avera. So then there's a machlokas and there's an opinion that says it's permitted. Aval ibru vasof nirbu, but everybody holds that if it got pregnant and then someone had relations with it, divra kol aser, v'hani dami ki ibru vasof nirbu dami. And the wheat is the same thing. But here, the ikedi amri, the other version, has a retort. Hachi hada, that you can't compare the two. Hasami karabehema v'hashdabehema. No matter what you say, the pregnant cow, there was a behema inside of it. So it was a behema then, now it's a behema. Eladashu dachiza ba'anpa. It was there, it was in a womb, so it couldn't come out. And therefore, Leda, giving birth, is not really considered some kind of shinui. Aval hacha, but by the case of the wheat, when it was worshipped, it was a stalk of wheat. Now it's flour. It's a different thing. It's further on down the processing chain, and perhaps that renders it not prohibited. Okay, so just a theoretical. And the Gemara, the Rambam paskins that if you bow down to planted wheat and later on you harvest it and grind it into flour, make it into manocha, it's permitted. Because based on this maskona, the second Iboy Sema, that there's no comparison between the case of the bestiality and the case of the wheat. Boy Reish Lakish. Hamishtachvel dekel. Person bite down to a palm tree. Lulvo ma'ul mitzvah. So we make lulavim from a palm tree. So if a palm tree was worshipped, remember, a palm tree is connected to the ground. We've already learned anything that's worshipped that's connected to the ground, you cannot prohibit. So therefore, the question is, if you make lulavim out of this palm tree, is it permitted to use? So be'ilan shenotu mitchila lakach. Now, if the palm tree was planted initially for the purpose of Avodah Zara, so loy tebalacha, so there's no shaila. Fidel hedyot nami aser. You can't. It's aser bano. Certainly to use it for mitzvah. Ki tibalacha be'ilan shenotu l'vasof avdu. The tree was originally planted for regular purposes, and then later on somebody worshipped it. Rabbi Yossi would have no problem because he holds that even a private person wouldn't be able to benefit from such a tree. The shaila is only kitibar libid rabbana, where they held that a private person could benefit from such a tree. So the question is, lenient mitzvah mai. Mi mo'is klape gavoa olo. The fact that it was worshipped makes the item disgusting, mo'us. And you can't use something mo'us l'shem mitzvah. So, kiyasa Rav Dimi, when Rav Dimi went up from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, Omar, ba'asher shabit l'kamabayli. This Shaila of Reish Lakish is an Asherah that somebody nullified. And the question, the general question is, Yesh dichui etzel mitzvahs o ein dichui etzel mitzvahs? Do we have a concept that once something is nidche, is pushed aside to be able to accomplish a mitzvah with it, is it pushed aside forever? Or since it can be resurrected through nullification, maybe it's not permanent dichui. So that's the general, bigger topic that we're really dealing with. So, tifshot le midisnan. Let's try to answer this shaila from the following Mishnah. So there is a mitzvah when you shecht a chaya or an oath that the blood that spills, you have to cover it. There's a mitzvah of kisui adam. So kisou v'nizgale. Let's say you covered it, but then it got uncovered. The wind blew the sand away. Potter milachasos. You already makayim the mitzvah. Even if it gets uncovered, that's fine. But if kiso aruach, you were not the one who volitionally covered the blood, but rather a wind blew some sand and covered it, and then it got uncovered, then chayav l'chasos. If it was covered memela, you haven't fulfilled the mitzvah of kisui. The Amar Rav Chana Amar Rav Yochanan lo yishanu ela shechazav v'nizgala. But that's only, we're talking about, you didn't cover it, the wind covered it, but then it got uncovered. If the wind covered the blood and it remains covered, you don't have to do kisui. And we analyze this case. That ki chazav v'nizgala mahavi. Who cares if it got uncovered? Hoil v'itchi itchi. Once it doesn't need to be covered anymore, it doesn't need to be covered. And Vamar of Papa Zoyso Meres ein dichui etzel mitzvahs. So now we have an answer, perhaps, that just because something is set aside, it's not set aside. Ein dichui etzel mitzvahs. So Rav Papa Gufi Boiling. This issue of Rav Papa, in fact, is the question. Do we say mipshit pshitale Rav Papa she'ein dichui etzel mitzvahs? Do we say that based on this Rav Papa there's no dichui, lo yishno l'kulav lo yishno l'chorm, whether it leads to a leniency or a stringency? Oy dilma sukim esafkele. Really, he's not sure whether there's dichui, and therefore l'chum ramrinan. Whenever there's a tzad to be stringent, we're stringent because it's a suffix. But l'kula lo amrinan, to be matir and say to take a lulav of an asherah tree that was nullified, we don't know for sure. We might not say that, and the Gemara ends up teku. We don't have an answer for it. So again, we started this sugya a couple of days ago. It's a very deep sugya. It's a very the questions that are asked are go down a rabbit hole. Boy Rav Papa, Hamishtachav el behema. Now, if you bow down to a live animal, you're allowed to have benefit from that animal. You can't aser a bal chai. The question is, tzam ramal l'tchelis. If it's a sheep that was worshipped, can you shear the wool to make tzitzis? Do we say tchelis demai? What kind of tchelis? Ibit tchelis l'kohanim there are some big day kahuna like the me'il that is made out of tchelas. Well, Hainu Bod Rami Bar Chama. But that was the same thing that we asked about if like a mountain was worshipped and the stones fell off, could you use it for the base of Migdash to build a mizbeach? So that's the same shaila. B'tchelas tzitzis. Now, if you're using the tchelas to make the mitzvah of tzitzis, Hainu Boy Reish Lakish, that's the same question as lulav. Can you use it for a mitzvah? So the Gemara answers, Eina Chanami, the Lohav Lemibelei. We didn't need, it's superfluous. Both of these shilas have already been answered, so it's superfluous. Haida Kaboile, the reason it was asked again is Hamishum de Ike Mili Achranisa, because we have something else to follow up with the question. And this is the full shaila. Samra Maulet Chelas, a sheep that was worshipped, which we said the sheep you could benefit from privately. We're asking the wool, can it be used for tchelas? Karne malachatzoitzros. Not just the wool, can you use the horns of this sheep or ram to blow them for the trumpets? Shoke ma'olachalilin. They used, I guess, the thigh bone to make flutes. B'nei me'el ma'ol pe'eros. They would use the intestines to make strings of the harp. Omar, the ikeshira bekli. So every korban was accompanied by the Levium singing in the Beis Hamikdash when they made the korbanos. The question is, was the song primarily through the instruments or through your voice? If the ikar shir is bekli lo toboilacha, then there would be no shala devadai oser. Since these kalim are being made from a behemoth that was worshipped, and they're considered machshirei korban, so we said previously that it's like the korban that was nevad, so there'd be no shala, you wouldn't be able to use it. The shaila is according to the Mandomer that says when the Levim sang in the Beis Hamikdash, the Iker song was through the vocal instrument, and the instruments like the harp and the flute is besume kola ba'ano. It was just to sweeten the Levim's voice. So maybe my sinon. So since it's not the Iker mitzvah, maybe you would be able to use it. Or maybe we say no, it's prohibited. Teiku. Again, we paskin that the Iker shir is bepeh. It says only Levium sang. The instruments were played by both Levium and Yisraelim, who had very good yichus, where you would be able to marry that Yisrael to a Kohen. Boy Rabo. Hamishtachavela ma'ayan. A person bows down to a spring of water. Meimav. Now, the water is clearly connected to the ground. So there's no Isra no in using the water. However, ma'ala nechasim, l'nesachim. On Sukkos, one of the avodot was Nisuch HaMayim. By the Simchas Pesach Sheweva, we poured water. So could this water be used in the Beis Hamikdash? So my kabbalah, what's the question you're asking? Ilema libaboa kosagid. He saw his image or an image in the water, and that's what he worshipped. So the water is not prohibited. Oh, Demalamaya kosagid. Maybe he was worshiping the water itself, and maybe it would be usher to be used in the Beis Hamikdash. So v'tiboy lay shebeseifel. Let's say he worshipped water that was already separated from the spring in a pail. Ulahedyot is the, remember, if you worship something connected to the ground, you can't prohibit it. But if you worship something that's separated from the ground, you can prohibit it. So maybe it'll be prohibited for a hedyot. So the Gemara says no. La'olam lamaya kasagi. He worshipped the water. This is the theoretical question. Lamaya de kama kasagi, but the kamoi kamayazdu. This is spring is running water. The water that he worshipped is long gone out of here, and new water is here. O Dilma lidvorna demaya kasagim. He's really worshiping the principle of water, and therefore all water becomes prohibited from that spring. Mitzri? Can he answer that? Water that public can access, a person cannot, nobody can answer that because of Avodah Zara. So what's our case? Lo tzricha de konivi me'ara. This Mayan came out from his own personal land, so it belongs to him. So he can answer them. Period. Mishnah. Mishai Besu Samak Avodah Zara. A person lives right next door to a base of Avodah Zara, and his wall is the same wall that the base of Avodah Zara uses. The nafal, and the wall collapsed. Asr lo livnoso. He can't rebuild the wall exactly where it was, because then he's building a wall for Avodah Zara. Ketzad yasa koines besoch shelo arba amos uboyne. He has to move it in 4 amos. It's 8 feet, and build a new wall there. And the Oiv Avodah Zara, they have to do whatever they do. They can't use his wall. On their border, they have to build a new wall. Now, if the wall, all the way in the beginning, was Shalom V'Shalom Avodah Zara, was owned by both of them, the ground and the wall. So Nidin Mechzal Mechza. So you measure the thickness of the wall. Let's say the wall is 1 foot wide. So you 6 inches. You have to move it arba amos, but arba amos from those 6 inches. Avona veitzav afaro. The stones, the wood, the dirt that was part of the wall of Avodah Zara, metamin, kesheretz. If it would have the status of tumah like a sheretz, because it says by Avodah Zara, shaketz to shaktzenu, it conveys tumah like a sheretz. Bekiva oimer, no, worse, kenida, shenemar, tizorim kamodovat say tomar la, mani b'matame b'masav, Avodah Zara matame b'masav. What's this? A sheretz, a dead sheretz. When you touch it, you become tummy. If you put the dead sheretz in a box and you carry the dead sheretz, that's called masa, you don't become tummy. But nida blood, for example, of course, if you touch it, you become tummy. But if the blood is on a piece of paper or something and it's put in a box and you carry the box, you become tumah through tumas masa. So it's a stringency of tumas nida over tumas sheretz. And Rabbi Kiva says the stones and the wood of a wall that collapsed of Avodah Zara is matame at a more stringent level. Then we said that you have to move your wall 4 amos away from the Avodah Zara. V'akamarvak Avodah Zara. So you're giving potentially more room to the base of Avodah Zara. That place in the no man's zone, you turn it into a toilet. A toilet needs sneas. There's not enough room to do that. It was a nighttime Beis HaKisei, where people don't look, so you don't have to build it in a way that is so tzanui. Somebody who's modest is somebody who goes to the bathroom in the daytime, in the nighttime, the same place he goes in the daytime. V'avagavdu kimna b'kederech. We're not talking about the place that you build a toilet, but the way you go to the bathroom. During the daytime, you don't reveal yourself fully. You have some tznius. So the same thing, just because it's night, you have to act in the same tznius way. Miut tznius aboy lemevid. You have to ask in a tznius way. It's not the place that we're talking about. The ovid le'letinoikos. The Beis HaKisa that you built for this Avodah Zara, or that you have built there, where it's going to be a genai for the Avodah Zara, is for children, where it's not important, the tznius issue. Or inami, the goderle, behizmi, or you covered it with thorns that nobody else could use it. And that means you don't build a toilet there, you just dump a bunch of thorns there that no use can be used of it. Shloisha batin hein. 3 kinds of structures that are made for Avodah Zara that are prohibited. Bayis shabona metchila Avodah Zara is osur. So a house was built with intent to be used for a base of Avodah Zara, so the whole thing is osur. Let's say the house was built originally not for Avodah Zara, but you replastered it, saido v'kaidel Avodah Zara, and you painted it, and therefore chidesh. So you renewed it. Noitel mashachidesh. You have to scrape it all away and throw it away. But the original house remains permitted. What if you have a house, shehichnas l'soch Avodah Zara, v'hotzia? Somebody put an idol into the house, and then they took the idol out, areza mutter. So the house doesn't become prohibited just because there was an Avodah Zara placed in the house temporarily. Somebody buys down to a bias, you prohibit it. Now, a house was not connected to the ground in an organic way. These were built from wood that was chopped down, uprooted from the ground. They're tolush. Then you reconnect it to the ground, but it's considered like tolush. So just like if we worship a mountain, we can't asur the mountain, but the bias is not like a mountain because it started off as a davar tolush. Even though now it's mechuber to the karka, it's treated like tolush, and therefore you can prohibit it. It seems from our Mishnah that it's only if you built it initially l'shem avodah zara, and then it becomes prohibited. So it has to be built even lachatchila. So, banau afal pi shlo yishtach v'lo means even if you didn't worship it, if you built it with the intent that it should be a base of avodah zara, it becomes prohibited. And ishtach afal pi shlo bano, and if you just bow down to it, even though you didn't build it, and this seems to be going against this concept. Well, no, it's with the concept of tolush v'shav chibro. So iachi hani shlosha is our boav. So we have a 4th category, which was a bias that was bowed down to. So kiven shlin bittul ban avishtach v'chad kachashav le. Building it l'chatchila and then bowing down to it is like one thing. There's really no difference in halacha, and that's why the Mishnah only considers it 3, not 4. Sholosh avonin hein. There are 3 types of stones that relate to Avodah Zara. Even shechotzva mitchila lebimus. They used a bimus is like an altar in a base of Avodah Zara. So if you went to a quarry and you quarried out a big stone, and initially for the purposes of building this altar, arezu asura. Now, let's say it was a regular stone, and then side of a kaida l'shem of it, but you plastered it and painted it l'shem avodah zara. So no telmasha side v'kaida muteris. You scrape off the new stuff that you made for it, but then the stone would be usable. Let's say you had a stone shehem avodah zara. All you did was put an idol on top of that stone. and then it was removed, silk arezeh muteris. The stone is usable. The plastering, the painting you have to like dig into the stone. There has to be like chakika. You have to engrave it. It's not just enough superficial. You compared it because the previous Mishnah talked about a bias. Ubayis lav begufehu. When we talk about painting or plastering a house, it's not begufak house. It's on the external surface. Why shouldn't it be the same thing? Umitzer, and there you asered. So why shouldn't it be the same thing by the stone? So the Gemara says, "Bayis nami ikebeni orvi." There are between the bricks, there are cracks. That's where he puts the lime. So you're making a shinu in the goof of the bayis as well. Milo askinan deshaya v'hadrashaya. But the Gemara says, even if it was smooth, and yet you answered it by painting over it, and therefore it's not in the goof of the bias. When Ravami made his statement, it had to do with nullifying. That even though when you worked on the stone, you painted it and plastered it in the cracks of the stone, and you did it in the chakika. So you might have thought that you can't resurrect such a stone. No. If you remove that which you beautified it with, it's okay, you can use it. I would have thought to say since you now plastered and painted it in the goof of the Evan, it's treated like an Evan that was quarried. The whole point for the Avodah Zara in the beginning. And V'titzer Kulon, you would think that the whole thing is prohibited, Kamash Malon, that no. Okay.
Ernie,
Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Can you add one question quickly because I have to go to shul. Can we start at 7?
Yes,
because
I said 7
Michi
tomorrow.
7:40. Okay,
7,
please.
Yeah.
7
Okay.
tomorrow. We moved
Okay.
it to 7.
We moved it.
Yes,
Bye,
George.
Okay.
Johnny.
Sorry, George. Sorry.
Okay.
No hay
Bye.
problema.
Yes, George.
Question. This concept of Avodah Zara, I have one issue. What happens if a person in his mind is worshiping something, but doesn't show externally anything, but admits to it, to the Avodah Zara, to somebody else? Would that then create a situation where the object is still Aser?
So we don't have power through machshava alone to make averos. There is, for example, in korbanot, if you have an improper machshava, when let's say you shech,
you end up it becomes
pigo.
pigo,
Pigo.
right?
Yeah, but that's a unique but you also did an action. You shechted with a machshava to eat it chutz lezmano.
But
But
what
there's
about the fact that he
you can't-
admits it to somebody else, Ernie?
I
Is
know,
what troubles me.
But in Avodah Zara,
You have to act on it.
there are actions: bowing,
Okay.
shechting, zrika. It's actions. It's not. That's why, George, we were talking today between Mincha and Mariv. Does the Jewish religion have dogma? Do we have things that Jews have to believe in?
No.
We know other religions definitely do. Since the time of the Rambam, we do have dogma, the Yud Gimel Ikrim, but many people aren't the Rambam. Meaning the Shulchan Aruch, we don't have a Shulchan Aruch of beliefs. We have a Shulchan Aruch of action. You understand?
Okay.
And
Yep.
like, even if you have bad ideas,
Even if your mashravas are all wrong, it doesn't matter.
yeah, you've got to espouse it. You've got to convince somebody else. You've got to speak
But
it.
I guess that's really what I'm driving at. If somebody uses that and then tries to convince other people of the validity of what he's doing, would that be considered?
Yes, that's called a mesit.
Yeah.
If you seduce people to worship, but that's considered a maisa because dibur
He's doing
is
something.
akimas fosim. There's a debate in halacha.
Yeah.
is Dibor like Kemai Sodomi or not? But there it is. We had that before. If you are Masit, other people. I was thinking you were going the other way, George, and because we're going to actually have that in the Gemara. If someone bows down to an idol, but in his mind he's thinking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's not Avodah Zarah.
That's
You-
right.
you wouldn't-
I know that, right? Because many times, if you were forced because of the
Yeah.
Roman idiots,
Yes.
then if you in your head you're saying this is nothing to me.
It's Go'imer
I-
Mutter.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
that you would not be, if that is your defense, you would be defended. You would not be killed.
Yeah.
If you said, "Oh, my mind was like," we're going to have that in the Gemara later.
By the way, Ernie,
Yes.
George, you should. I listened to a shir also of why we're supposed to destroy the Avodah Zarah completely. You're supposed to break it up and whatever, because when the religions have this dogma, there's no way that you can convince them to do something else. So the only way to do it is to destroy it.
Yep.
That's why when you're fighting certain people who have dogma, you can't change their dogma. The only
Yep.
way that you can change their dogma is to destroy them. That's
Yep.
that's the whole thing of
Very good.
Okay.
Sorry.
Outstanding. There's a lot to talk about in Avodah Zarah. Absolutely. It's very
Yeah.
interesting things.
Yeah.
Good night.